We're live. We're live.
What up?
Yo, you know what I never noticed is that I can actually, this overlay, you can kind of see what's behind it if you look closely. But anyway, yo, we're live on Gear Dive Jam, and this is episode number 10. Travarsi, can you believe we've gotten to episode number 10?
I know. It's
I mean, I don't know where the year is going. That means we're almost to 1 year of doing Gear Dive Jam.
we're gonna have to do something special for the annual.
We definitely have to. So that means July, then August, right? Okay, cool. That'll be dope. So, yo, welcome to Gear Dive Jam. I am B-Boy Tech, and I have my homegirl Travarsi.
Yo.
And today is Thursday, June 10th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to be focusing on the Isla Instruments S2400.
Yeah.
And we got guests Ken Flux Pierce,
Yep.
Dephrase, and we might even have Brad Holland coming in any minute. So yeah, I'm excited to get started because this is one of those boxes that I think is kind of a modern classic in the making.
Right. I think I'm gonna end up buying another drum machine. What do you think?
By the time it's all over, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yo, let's get started. Yo.
Hey.
Hey,
what up, everybody?
What's up?
Hey, what's up, Dephrase? What's up, Ken?
What's up? Vibing.
Yeah.
Vibing over here.
Thanks for being here, guys. I can't wait to
My pleasure.
talk about this.
Hey, Dephrase, I know that we were all talking beforehand, but if you can bring your voice level up a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
It'll be good. I'm just saying that now because I turned my volume down and I was like, oh, he is a little bit quieter. Okay.
Cool.
So, hi, everyone.
How does that sound?
That sounds much better. Much better.
Cool. Sweet.
Very cool.
24-hour live stream. Who's Balance Spring talk about doing a 24-hour live stream?
Well, I see Mr. John Wells in the chat, so maybe
then
you do that. You ready for another 24 or 36 hour stream for Gear Dive Jam, Jono?
No doubt.
He's like,
I wouldn't be surprised if Jono's still asleep after doing that 72 million hour stream that he did. But so I don't know. I want to getting into the S2400, right? I mean, Ken, you've been pretty close to this project. Why don't you tell us what this S2400 is about?
I guess the whole thing kind of started as like a fanboy thing, I guess, because Brad was just a huge fan of the SP1200 sound and really wanted that kind of vibe in a new piece of gear, and he just kind of struck out and decided he was going to make it happen. So rather than make it just a direct clone, he wanted to make it like a spiritual successor. So stay very true to the original, give it a bunch of those limitations that made you creatively have to work around it and not clutter tracks, and kind of give you the sound of it and also some of that workflow vibe, but update it to where obviously times have changed. We can do a lot more interesting things now as far as flying samples back and forth between a computer, being able to have dynamic pads, just digital filtering and in addition to analog filtering, and a lot of things like that, where he was just like, let's give it something new, but make it feel like the old, you know what I mean? Right. Kind of like a fever dream of the old stuff, where it's like you're having these reminiscent thoughts and things are always better than what you thought they were, you know what I mean? But then when you go back and start using some of the old gear, you're like, oh yeah, like this part sucks and this part sucks, but this sounds so good and I had so much fun and I'm so inspired. So he just really wanted to do that. And then from there, it was really cool because I got hit up very early on, and he kind of.
I remember the day we were in a long Marco Polo conversation about other stuff, and then you just kept saying, "Ooh, ooh, ooh," and I was like, "What is going on?" He's like, "I can't say."
Yeah.
It was a lot of drool.
He kept saying, "Ooh, but you're gonna love it though." But I can't tell you.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And that's how it is. Like, you know, a lot of times we have these long conversations on Marco Polo, which, you know, if anybody out there has friends that are like across the world and you want to stay in contact, please get on Marco Polo. It's so good for that. Yeah, like as I got involved in it, what was really cool to me, you know, on a personal level is, you know, Brad was real open to discussions, and, you know, a lot of the times when I get involved in projects like this, a lot of it is me saying, you know, okay, well, I kind of wish you could do this. I kind of wish you could do that. And then the pushback is, yeah, but the money's not going to be there for that. We're going to have to strip this back. This project was the exact opposite. It was literally me yelling at Brad saying, dude, why are you putting 2 sets of phono inputs on? Don't do that. Like, you're wasting money. Like, you're gonna go broke, dude. Like, and a lot of it was just me like trying to rein him back. Like, dude, you don't need to make the metal this thick. You this, that, the third. Like, trying to, like, because, you know, it's a small operation, and he was just like, nah, man, I'm gonna do it like this.
It's all
I'm gonna
about
make
quality.
it.
Like, it's a really good quality machine. Like, that's why I wanted to pull it up, because you can see.
Yeah.
I mean, dang, it's like a 1/4 inch thick aluminum size or more.
Yeah, I mean, like the faders are like the highest quality faders. You know,
I got a question about those
The
knobs.
buttons
Are they
on
like
there.
dual turning
they're
knobs?
dual concentric
Yep.
pots. So
Pots on there? Okay.
yeah, so it's 2 knobs in one, and yeah, like there was a lot of that stuff where it was just like, typically I'd be kind of like trying to scratch and claw to get stuff into it, whereas this, it was me like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, you're putting a lot into this, you know what I mean? Which was really dope. And then on top of that, then it was the developers that he was getting on board. I've known all the developers as well. So like, it's all friends. Like, we're all friends that were working on it, and it's like all guys that I've known for ages. And you know, got Ski Beats involved. Ski is a great dude. I've known him for a good while. Just Blaze, great dude. Like, lots of people that we're just friends with, all working on this stuff and getting to hash things out with, and get to really kind of work on a dream machine, you know?
Yeah, so that's what's dope. So I like the idea of the fact that it came from somebody that had huge admiration for the original SP12 or the SP1200. It came from that huge admiration. Somebody that knows the old boxes like that, like a lot of us have been familiar with, or some of us have owned these things, and he took it on himself to build it from the ground up, which is a hell of a feat. And then what it ended up turning out to be, I think, is better than honestly I could have imagined it. And so
how long, if you don't want, how long was from, you know, the idea to when it came out? How long did it take for him to the whole process?
I want to say, Brad will probably correct me, but just off top of the head, I want to say it was like 2.5 years, something like that total. But I came on board, I want to say maybe a year to a year and a half before it came out, something like that. But he had the idea for a while, and then the first thing that he did was kind of like, he purposely kind of like leaked some images of a very early rendition of the circuit board. Not at all what the production circuit board ended up looking like, but it was kind of just to like put a feeler out there and see what the internet would act like. And he did that pretty early on, just to get a feeler to see, like, you know, because it's a significant investment, man. This is the kind of project that can, you know, ruin lives and or make dreams, you know.
Right.
I can remember. Matter of fact, we got Jordan Thorne in the chat there. Bully Finger, what up?
Bully Finger.
I can remember when I first came on board, and I had talks with Brad, and we were talking about doing the shows, and he was just like, "This is gonna ruin your career."
That's hilarious.
And I was like, look, honestly, man, like, this this project is scary. Like doing a sequencer, just a sequencer, is a massive undertaking, right? Doing something like this is a very scary proposition, and all props to Brad for like, I'm sure the extremely high number of sleepless nights, and like
Probably still,
talk about a stressful product to put out. Doing something like this, like the fanboys are one thing. I mean, like you'll literally get death threats over doing stuff like this.
I feel like I'm surprised he didn't. I'm sure
drum sampler fanboys are not like any other music tech fanboys. Like sequencer or synthesizer guys are one thing, man. When you get into like the MPC crowd, the SP crowd, it's it's a whole other culture, man. Like that you gotta eat, sleep, and breathe it. And if you don't, like you'll be chewed up and spit out.
Well, he definitely did it justice, I think. I mean, and two, so when it was first offered, what was it, $999 when it first?
I had a coupon code,
and then it was
the day we announced it
909
officially to make it 909.
The day,
yeah. So that was dope, and then it stayed that way for over a year. Things started shipping, and then it jumped up to $14.99. And now he, just like everything else, there's part shortages, and so there may be probably a stoppage after the summer or coming into the summer. I think he made an update about that. That's the other thing. Brad is really dope about doing updates, keeping the community really informed, good, bad, or indifferent. Super exactly, Dephrase. He's so transparent about this.
Nice. So wait, let's talk about some of the specs, because talk about the connectivity on the back. Is there a way to pause it? That video or that's spinning, or I'm not sure if you can the website. Well,
probably pull up a different picture.
Just give us a run through really quick on the connectivity in the back first. Let's start. I noticed there's like some RC8. Are those?
I think there is an image of it on the site, like if you go to it, but
okay.
I don't know if you want me to discuss it or if Corey wants to. I'd rather Corey because I've been talking enough.
Okay. Well, yeah. So hold on a second. Let me open a new.
There are phono two
sets of phono. Yeah.
So the 2 sets of phono can also be used as line. I think maybe just the second set or both. I'm not.
The first set, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly off the top of the head. And please excuse me if I don't get something completely perfect. It's been a long time that we've been doing a lot of other projects, but so the first set, if I recall correctly, also passes through the analog filter. And matter of fact, I can text certain people while I'm doing this. So the first set of inputs, the first set of line inputs, this is actually a really interesting aspect of this machine, and it's all part of like there's a ton of quirks on the machine that are just very quirky, and it really makes it endearing in a way. So the first set of inputs pass through an analog anti-aliasing filter. Now that anti-aliasing filter is set for, when you're in lo-fi sample rate, right? So you can still put it into 48K though. But if you do, and you're still sampling through input 1 and 2, you're still passing through a filter that's set for, what is it? 20 what
was it, 26 kilohertz?
Yeah.
So when you sample at 48 through it, you'll hear your samples get darker, right? Because they're passing through an analog anti-aliasing filter that's set up for a vintage machine, right? Which is a really cool character to it that makes it sound like nothing else in my studio, like period. The inputs 3, 4 are directly to the DAC. Right, so
bypasses
no processing, nothing, just going straight into the 48K DAC. Right.
Right.
So that gives it a totally different sound. Right. It's got this raw, more bright sound straight through it. Okay.
And also, then you got phono 1 and 2. Right. Then you got phono 1 is set up just like inputs 1 and 2.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. And then phono 2 is set up like inputs 3 and 4.
Yeah.
2.
And so they kind of mirror that, and everything's all individually selectable on there. And then on top of that, you can you have your outputs, and then you can dictate whether the analog filters that are I would say they are very similar. They have their differences to a SP1200. Obviously one it's stereo, but two yeah, they're the same circuits, but you know, there's some trimming and stuff that's a little bit different. But anyway, so you can turn those on and off inside of the machine as opposed to having to like half jack the machine and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's just a very it's got lots of little quirks as far as how it handles those things. You got what we jokingly refer to as analog clock on the back. Obviously, like, you know, clock is still it's you know,
and that, what's dope about the clock though, you got clock in and out, and then you have all these different settings and different PPQ and different everything. You can really set up the clock exactly the way you want it, exactly the way you
do it your modular and stuff.
Yeah, like exactly.
It or send clock. Dope. And I like that they put through on there.
Yep, exactly.
SD card, what is that? Like, where are you?
That's where
it's a memory storage device.
Yeah. But that's where all your whole projects and all your
like, I mean, you put your project there. Does it run? Is it
you stream your samples off of there too.
Does it stream from?
Yeah.
So if you put a big that's pretty dope.
And the USB, so you've got USB host for, like, you know, MIDI keyboards and that sort of thing, and then you've also got USB connection on there, which trying to remember. I'll be honest with you, like some of the stuff that I might say like is kind of goofy, just because like I'm always on like a weird beta. But if it's not out yet, like the audio streaming stuff is coming soon. I get confused as to what's.
Yeah, that's out in the next update, I believe. I can't wait for that.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, there's just lots of really cool stuff. I mean,
very cool.
So Dephrase, what's one of your sort of standout features that you like about the S2400?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I mean, I'm a full-time producer in the Boston area, and I need to lay down ideas really, really quickly. And integrating hardware, even though it's super, super fun, into the context of working with a client has been really, really difficult in the past, because like I can just open Ableton Live and just get everything I need. But the looper on this has been like the thing that has just been incredible. Like I can write an entire song on it in like 30 seconds if I play the parts right.
Right.
But it's
super simple too.
That's
it's
amazing.
Very intuitive and very simple.
So wait, so there's a looper on there. So can you like lay a layer and then realize, oh shit, I messed it up? Or do you have to like start over? Like, is it like a true, like you can't go back?
I think you can overlay.
You can overlay. So
you could overlay, and you can also you can delete your buffer as well.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So you can stop recording and then start again, delete the second recording, but keep the first one on one track.
Yeah,
which is sick. Yeah,
that's very sick. Okay.
And it's a 8-track looper, right? So, yeah. So basically, when you turn a looper on, the bank D, the last bank, turns into an 8-track looper. So each pad is a track, right? And then you got those channels that you can overlay. Mad layers, as my man Curry Cases is pointing out. So hey, let's see if we can get into. We got a couple videos. For those that watch the show knows that we got we play videos and then we kind of talk about what we have set up. So I think my video is going to be first. I'll talk about it after we get back. It just forewarning, it's kind of like 2 videos sliced into one 5-minute video, right? So I'll talk about the different ways that I've used it in those 2 different scenarios when we get back.
Cool. And right before I play the video, I just want to let everyone know in the chat, thank you for being here. Yes. Hit that like button. And if you have questions, be sure you drop them in the chat so we can get them answered too. All right, let's do it. Meet up, guys.
Yeah. So
Ooh.
with
That
this,
Let's pause for a moment, Corey.
okay, all right.
Let's just talk about that beat. You just need to breeze over that like it was nothing. That was hot. All right. Okay. Now, yeah.
That was a vibe.
Yeah.
No, thanks. So one of the things that I've just been kind of, because I haven't had the box for very long. So I'm getting used to the different sort of things that you can do on it. So the first beat that I played there was like the first time I used the looper. And so all of the synth parts were just played in from the Moog 1 and the Hydra synth. I had the bass coming from the Moog 1, played the chords, I think were I think the chords were the initial patch from the Hydra synth, and then I played the lead on the Moog 1, and then I had the ARP off the Hydra synth. And so those were all, I basically had like 4, maybe 5 tracks of the looper going with the drums coming off of it. So since everything was recorded coming out of there, it was just all audio coming out of the box, then I was able to kind of affect it going through the performer. Right. So that was just kind of the looper sort of vibe that I was doing on that. So that was the first day I did that. Then the next beat is I actually am running, I have the Poly-In Poly 2 in my big rack, the big case over here, the big Euro rack. And it's basically a MIDI to CV converter. So I was running that via USB to the S2400 and assigning a pad to a MIDI channel and then playing the melody. Dun, dun, dun. That was coming off of my Euro rack from one of the channels. And then I was also doing the bass line, boom, boom. It's just a simple kind of note hit, but that was also coming off of the Lifeforms Pittsburgh modular double helix complex oscillator. And, those going through filters and stuff. And then I was just kind of messing with the effects because I got another performer that's just in that rack. So basically I was using it as the main sequence. So the drums were coming off of it, but then it was sending MIDI to a MIDI to CV converter in the rack so that I could do those melodies and stuff. So two very different ways of using it, but it was mad capable and it wasn't tough to figure it out. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Very cool. So can you talk about just the way the sequencer, talk about the sequencer a little bit on it? Because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. So you have 4 banks.
Okay.
You have the 8 pads right on the front here. Let's see, is my camera still on? Yeah.
Yeah, let me put you to full screen there. Okay.
So yeah, you have these 8 pads and you have 4 banks. So you can sequence any of those things. Now, if you put it in looper mode, then it turns bank D into the looper bank, right? So each pad becomes a track for the looper on bank D. So it's pretty simple. You start out, you can set up a pattern. You can turn the patterns here. I'm in a different thing here. Which one of these am I on? There. Okay. So over here is in the main screen, you have pattern 1 through, what is it? I don't even know how many patterns you have. 99? I don't know.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, you got quite a few patterns over here. So you can select all of that on the screen. When you get to a pattern, you can also go to pattern length. And on pattern length, you can set that to however many bars or whatever you want to do. You can set the time signature. You can do all the setup that you want to do to the sequence. And then it's just as simple as, right? You could turn the metronome on and off, right? You could turn the metronome on and off. You could turn it up and down. All that stuff is in there just with the click of a button. These buttons are dual function. So you either have shift or, just regular press the button, right? And they do different things. But then once that's going, it's just as easy. Count yourself in if you set it up that way. You could just go ahead and tap away. Just like you would live programming on an MPC. But you also have each one of these, let me just pull in a little bit. It gets a little dark, but what you can see is the main pad, right? You have the pad here, but every pad has a mute and solo button right above it. And so because there's 8 pads, then you have these 16 little buttons over the top. And so you can also do, 808 style or XOX style sequence and step sequencing.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you can fix it. You can go back and if you play in your sequence, you can use that. You can use
you totally
to go back in and adjust your sequence.
Yeah. And you could even go onto the screen and it gives you, the grid view of everything, where you can actually take the steps in and out, add a step with the you can get as data knobby as you want to with the thing. You know what I mean? So it's pretty familiar. Like the sequencer is a pretty familiar situation of the way you would with any other sequencer.
Easily get into.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Corey, did you use the song mode?
I didn't use the song mode yet.
Have you gotten to learn that yet? Because you got yours more recently, so.
Yeah,
I've been busy.
Chance to use the song mode, but the reason is because remember I asked you, I'm like, yo, how do you turn the damn volume down on one of these things? And you like, well, just don't select any of the buttons on the side. And now all of the sliders are like mix knobs for that particular track. So I've been having fun just kind of muting and soloing and then pulling the volume up and down and performing it that way.
Yeah. So one of the things about the song mode, and admittedly, like when I did mine, I was like, oh my God, I'm pressed for time, whatever. But one of the cool things about the song mode is it's crazy flexible and super easy to use. Like basically, and I'm telling this to Shonda, to Travarsi, just so that I can kind of make this, so it's in terms of the sequencer. When you use song mode, what's really cool about it is you've got a gang of songs that you can select, but even in just one, what you can do is basically all your button presses and moves you can kind of store in the song. So the way that I like to work it is you can do it kind of in a traditional like text kind of way, like stay in the song screen and do it from there. But what I like to do is I just turn on the song button and then I set my song, then I go out of it, and essentially like I record my track mutes and stuff and do it that way.
I didn't even
And then
do that.
So we can record them when you mute as well, like all.
So like, so what you do is like I'll for instance, like I'll hit play and then like I'm like, okay, I like this arrangement of the beat here, and then I'll hit shift F2, right? You hit the F2 button, and then that adds it to your song, right? And then I'll say, okay, well now I want to drop out the bass and the kick, right? So I'll hit mute on those two pads and then hit shift the 2 button again, and that adds that, you know, that mute group and another pattern to it right there. And then I could say, let's say I do that a couple of times, and then I'm like, okay, I want this whole section to loop, right? You can loop like entire sections, not just one pattern, but you can loop like whole sections of changes and everything. So you can do sub songs inside of the sequence, like inside of your song mode. It like the song mode is so crazy, like powerful, and it's not hard to learn. Like once you kind of like go in there and like learn like just a couple of things on it, it's really intuitive to use and to build up. Like I personally, like, you know, I kind of came up on the 2000 XL. I have them like laying around here. I love that sequencer, and I love to be able to like, you know, kind of like copy pattern and paste them, and you can do that method too in this.
Gotcha.
But more often than not, what I'll do is the entire beat will be maybe 4 or 5 patterns tops, and the bulk of it is actually track muting and that sort of thing. And then just having
that.
Yeah, it's really honestly like the song mode is pretty crazy.
Nice.
Okay, that's gonna be my next foray. I'm gonna have to dig into the song mode.
I think I'm gonna need this thing.
Homework.
Well then, Ken, so like why don't we jump into playing your video?
Okay.
Do you have anything you want to say, or you want to wait till after we play it?
No. You know what? You play it and then I'll explain what I did.
All right, and then you have some more
So
gold.
aggressive.
Then you can have some more gold.
This is
This is sponsored by Red Hot Goldfish.
That's right, Dephrase.
If I could get a sponsorship for these things, I'll sell my soul right now.
For goldfish? Oh shit!
So
all right. On that note, let's play this video. Everyone, mute up.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Flux, and this is the beat that I did in the little bit of time that I had. I tried to record most of it through the microphone, so check it out.
Okay.
That was sick.
That was dope. Yeah.
So I'll explain a little bit of what that was. It all kind of stemmed from I was actually doing a product test. Like I was trying to determine some weird things with a product. So I was using a microphone to mic up monitors so that I could do frequency analysis. And then I started doing that. And I was like, well, I have this set up right now. Like, might as well use it. So everything in the beat went out and then back in. So like it all went out through the monitors, and then I recorded the monitors directly into the S2400 and looped it that way. Pretty much everything was done with the live looper except for the initial drum loop, but everything else was done with the live looper. And then I would bounce the live loops to samples so that I could, be a little bit more flexible with how I sequenced it. Like the chanting is like sound on sound of me, just like literally, like my kids must have been freaking out because I'm just in like screaming.
I just want to yell, "Wakanda forever!"
Yeah. Like I had the Jabari, like I named the beat Jabari 42. It's the answer, So like I had the Jabari tribe kind of in my mind, and I'm a big comic book nerd, so like stuff like that sticks to me. And like so like I was kind of like thinking about that chant, but I was kind of like, I'm gonna make it my own because I'm an asshole, and like let me just get ridiculous. So I did that chant like over and over and over again, like just let the live loop just keep looping over top of myself. And I would like change positions in the room, and I would do like different parts of it, like getting more breathy and that kind of thing. Cool. And then if you listen, like there's a section where there's like claps and stuff. The claps is me like clapping. The synth stuff is all hydrosynth. So like the bass is hydrosynth, the lead is hydrosynth, like all that stuff, like the little belly sound, all that stuff is hydrosynth. And so the way that it's sequenced is just that song mode, just doing the mutes and unmutes. Doing that whole kind of thing.
Let me ask you a question then, because I heard in your explanation you mentioned bouncing. So what do you mean by that? Just for anyone else who just doesn't know. Like,
so what you can do with your live loop is once you record a live loop, you'll see the B button is lit, right? And the B button tells you that it's in essentially the live buffer, like the active buffer, right?
Gotcha.
So then you can either switch to another pad, in which case it'll automatically push it into the looping buffer, the memory, or you can manually hit A and it'll go over, right? Once it's in there, you can hit shift and the pad and you'll get into another menu. And when you're in that menu, you're presented with a whole bunch of options. I think I got my stuff messed up right now. So anyway, you can you get in there and you can bounce it out to a sample and you can assign it to a pad. Remember, on the S2400, you only have 8 tracks, right? So you have, multiple, you got 4 banks, but they're all on those same channels, I should say. I'm sure Mickey is in here help trying.
So there's 8 tracks, 4 banks per channel.
Exactly.
4 layers in.
Yeah. So there's 4 banks and 8 channels, right? So each channel is monophonic polyphony, right? So if you have, say, pad A1, right? And then you go to bank B, pad A1, and it's still set to that same channel because you can actually rearrange which channels the pads go to, right? The tracks go to.
Crazy. Okay.
If they both hit at the same time, you're going to cut one off, right?
Got it. Okay.
So just think of it like, those channels, that, with the faders on it, like just think of it in a row like that. And then of course you can rearrange them. Like I rearranged a few on that. I tend to put my hi-hats on the same channel. So like pad 3 and 4 is usually my hi-hat, and I'll put them both on the same, I'll put them both on channel 3, that kind of thing. But yeah. So it's just a matter of like, you can, once you do your live loops, you can send that out to a sample pad, right? And then just kind of do your thing there. You can also change what the playback engine is and that sort of thing. So, and I'll be honest with you, I always put it in classic just 'cause I like the way it sounds. It's
same.
sexy. It's sexy. It just sounds cool.
Same with you, Dephrase.
Oh
You
yeah, always.
I've never been outside of the classic mode.
Yeah,
I will say this. I'll say this. So that's just kind of where I navigate to, just because like I enjoy the sound of it, and there's a lot of flexibility there as far as like, again, quirks and character of where the aliasing is, and it's very true to the original as far as how it aliases. Like if you go directly an octave below, you don't hear much aliasing because you're directly an octave below, and it's not just like a simple bit crusher effect on there. You know, it really kind of has its quirks. And but during testing and you know the early phase, I got to know EA Ski pretty well, and just talking with him, he's all about that cleanness. Like, and he would use, you know, the 48K, you know, hi-fi mode all the time, and just did amazing work with it. So it's, you know, it's really up to your personal preferences as far as how you like to do it. I do tend to keep certain sounds. I'll keep them high, but the vast majority, yeah, I want it gritty and broken.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, by the way, I want to jump in. Mickey from Delptronics, one of the developers, did the sequencer and all that. When we were talking about the sequencer, I was saying I think it's 99 sequences. So that this is his answer: 0 to 99, so 100 sequences.
100.
Dope. Thanks, Mickey.
Well,
so we get into should we get into Dephrase video, or are we ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Do it.
You want to set it up with it? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, B-boy. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're gonna say the same thing. Go for it.
Oh, okay. Dephrase, do you want to say anything and set us up, or do you want to?
No, I think we should let the video play and
then
talk about it afterwards. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Dope. All right. Everyone, mute up and
Dope.
get this in.
Oh snap! Mark calling Dephrase. Hello.
Damn.
That was a damn celebration.
God,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do this all the time where I just kind of psych myself out about the videos I record. And that was like, of course, my 10th take, and it wasn't perfect, but I was like, that was good enough. Sick.
and that was damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of our head, I can see everybody when your video is playing, and all of our heads were like,
Oh, dope.
yeah.
That was a groove, man. It was a real
Yeah,
good
yeah.
groove, and those switch
Cool.
up.
Thank you.
were
Thank
dope.
you.
And you know what I thought was dope about it is because as you're playing, you're kind of luring us in, and then each switch up took us a little higher and a little higher and a little higher.
Yeah.
Dope.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. And that was my goal. Like, I kind of wanted to showcase this as a live performance tool. And just like, there was one like super soulful sample that I made, like just multi-tracking the mellotron that I chopped up. And kind of wanted that like soulful kind of boom bap-ish vibe. And then into this kind of like weird kind of video gamey kind of shout out to DiBiase, like major influence from him. Yeah, just so that was the goal. And if you noticed, so I'm like making and deleting live loops on the fly.
That's what I thought. I was going to ask you about that because I felt like you were playing something and then you hit the loop right at the perfect place where it just kind of was a good lead line and you looped it right there.
Yeah. So I had 5 live loops pre-recorded as a part of the composition. 3 were sort of complementing the soulful sample. Like I said, it was all done just multi-tracking the mellotron. So I just was using like the same instruments there. And then on the second version was just 2 different sounds from the OP1. And I like kind of had a sequence going, but then I made a different sequence as it was recording. So yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you.
So good.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that was really, really fresh. And the use of those instruments that were right there. I mean, it's a dope little setup that you got going on with the
cool.
With
Yeah, thank you.
The center of it all is pretty dope. And yo, I just want to say that so I invited Dephrase on the show because I'd heard, I've been listening to Dephrase for a while. I wanted to, we still got to get you interviewed on the other thing we talked about before.
Yes, yeah.
What's dope about it is I know how he's a beast on any machine that he gets. And I asked him to be on the show. He said, word, can't wait. Then Dephrase just moved. So what you saw him doing was in a new space, right? That's a new space.
Yeah. So
within 24 hours of you moving into place and killing it like that.
Yeah, yo, I felt so bad because Corey asked me for the video at there was plenty of notice, and then of course I got it in like a few days after he asked me, but like just in the nick of time. So sorry if that like caused any extra work or stress.
Oh, good, because I didn't realize you were moving that weekend. So I want to thank you just for even do that on the weekend that you're moving. That was crazy. So
this was a really good excuse for me to kind of like beta test my new home.
Yeah.
Was that the first thing you unpacked and set up?
Yeah, like we still have an air mattress, but I like sort of fully set up my studio, which will also be taken down and replaced with kind of new furniture, but that's another story. So yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. And
thank you guys so much for having me. Like I said, like I said in the chat, like right before we went live, that I've been watching all of you basically sell me gear on the internet for like the last several years. So it's an honor just to be here and to be able to do that with you guys is super, super cool.
Dope, man. And that's what it's all about. We're about community. The show's about community. And that's why, you know what I mean? We know this Gear Dive Jam, right? So some stuff, here's the thing, from us having done reviews and stuff in our different ways, like putting hands on gear, a lot of times we get stuff and then we have to learn how to use it. And me and Travarsy wanted to do a show where maybe we don't have to take all of the time in the world to try to learn the gear before we do a video. But if we have some people that are also using it already, whether they're from the company, whether they're affiliated with the gear or not, or whether they're just somebody that has a certain expertise in the gear, it's just, you know, it's their piece, you know, that opens up the spectrum to everybody in the community. So we can kind of share this is circular sort of reciprocal art to the show. So happy to have
it. And it's always great to just see how other people are using the same piece of gear in such different ways, you know, like.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Gas dive jam.
Gas dive. That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. True story, HR Terror. True.
So
you know, I want to say real quick that like the funky worm inspiration on that track had me going.
Oh,
had me going.
The funky worm situation.
I was like, yes. Like I heard that come in, I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing.
Yeah. I made that patch for the beat, but I like realized it was super cool as a mono lead sound as well as a chordal thing. So that was a happy accident.
Yeah. It was a very, very happy accident, especially the way you looped it there towards the end of using it, where you playing live and then you went ahead and looped it. It was on point. And you know what? I think too, there's one of the things I want to say. If you all notice, you'll probably, so for everybody that's watching, we release the videos individually on the channel after the show. So tomorrow at 6 in the morning, this is a disco party on your phone, ain't it?
I don't know why. Like
so yeah,
like
in the morning, all of the videos will go live individually, and obviously you get high definition, and you'll be able to kind of check them out. But if you notice on Dephrase's track, since he was doing live looping, I noticed that you were playing the sort of lead, and then when you looped it, it took on a whole different sort of texture, almost like it was a little darker, and it's laid in the track really well. Did you adjust volume or anything, or was it just that's the way you sampled it in the live looper and it was that like that?
Yeah, so what's really, really cool about this machine is the way I've got it set up is a pass through all the time. So I've got all of my synths going into a mixer, and I just leave the S2400 in input monitor.
Dope.
So it's like the final stage before, well, in this case, before the SP404 and then my interface, but it's usually like the final stage before my interface. So what was really cool about that is you can input monitor like on full volume, but then once the tracks are recorded, if the filter is set a certain way, then it will just actually take on the shape of the filter.
Yeah.
So in that case, and there was one instance actually where I messed up, and when I was actually recording it like the fader was down all the way. So if you notice, the first time I actually record that synth, it's actually silent for like 4 bars or something like that.
All right.
But it will take on like the position of the fader and the filter. So
Dope.
yeah.
Dope. And that's a quick thing about the filters. Like when you have them set like that, if you go into your live looper and you have a filter set a certain way, you can kind of loop it in directly with that filter sound. So like, let's say like a lot of the times I'll use like the Hydrosynth or the Prophet 5 or something, sending it into it, and I'll have the filter like knocked back a bit just to kind of make everything a little bit darker, but darker and like I like the patch how it sounds, but make it darker over here. You know what I mean? Like it's a different vibe.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a couple of questions, Dephrase. So how many are you using both sets of the inputs then, or are you just using one set with your mixers going in?
Yeah, it's just one set. I find it's just easier just to rather than switch the input source, just to like have it all kind of going into the same thing, and then I can control the level with the mixer easily. So
and then like each channel you can set the filter to different each channel? You can set it individually, or is it just like a one setting what's going into the machine?
Yep. So it's per live loop.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. If you have like sub outs on your mixer, because that's pretty similar to how I have mine set up as well. But if you have sub
I
outs,
should do sub outs. That's a
you
good
can
call.
send the sub outs to the 3/4, so you get the two different colors.
That's super cool.
Ah.
Man, I should do that. That's dope, actually. Yeah, that's super dope. Cool.
Fresh.
Yeah.
Cool. So, yo, this has been a dope episode.
Yeah, thanks guys for coming on here. Seriously,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Definitely thank you all for coming on. It's been dope having the different perspectives, and you know, some of us have had the machine longer than others, and then no matter what, the workflows are always a little bit different, and then there's some similarities and a little bit different. And so I would advise anybody, just to give you a heads up, this you can go to the site Isla Instruments, ISLA, and I know a lot of people say Isla, but it's actually Isla. The S is silent. And so islainstruments.com, and you can pick this up. I think it's $14.99 up on the site, and it's not something that's distributed all over the place. You're not going to be able to go to Sweetwater or Guitar Center or something to get this. You have to buy it direct, and it's a small boutique operation where Brad and a good handful of guys are just trudging away, getting it all done. You know what I mean? And a lot of good people have put hands on this. And
Amazing company.
Dope stuff. So yeah, do support. You won't be disappointed. I don't think you will. And I also know that they're constantly updating and improving and adding on. I think this machine is not even what's there already. It's not even scratching the surface of what I think is going to be there in the next year or so. You know what I mean? So it's one of the things to remember. And yo, thanks everybody for coming in. Thanks to Brad from Isla Instruments for going down this journey and venturing out to do this. And yeah, big thanks to
Brad.
Yeah, big thanks to Dephrase and Ken. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you guys. We appreciate it. Seriously, you're in the jams. So good.
Excellent.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
And to the people in the chat, again, just so you know, those will be individual videos on a playlist on Gear Dive Jams YouTube channel as of tomorrow morning. And so be sure to spread the word. You know, we're going to keep this going. It's a monthly show. What were we, second Thursdays of every month at 7 p.m. And so we'll bring more gear, and you bring more likes and more shares, and we'll keep doing what we do.
That's right.
Oh,
no doubt. Let's go out with it like this.